Hello, nerds! Thank you for watching Generally Nerdy. This right here, this is your week in Nerdom, comic books edition for the week of January 15th, 2018. This week, the cat is out of the bag about Michael Bendis' first project over on DC side. Captain America is about to hit an incredible milestone. Conan the Barbarian is finding his way back over to the largest comic book house in America. That plus all the things right after this.
Quiet on the set, rolling.
Hi, I am Bitsy Telek.
Hey, I'm Hale Appleman.
I'm Walter Kane.
I'm Rene Aubergenois. Odo on Deep Space Nine.
Michael Dorn, Lieutenant Commander Worf, Star Trek The Next Generation.
Come and see me and hear me and talk to me and listen to me talk about myself.
Hey man, this is Kevin Smith, often considered generally nerdy, and you are listening to what is often considered generally nerdy.
On Generally Nerdy.
You're listening to
Generally Nerdy.
Generally Nerdy.
Generally nerdy.
So Michael Bendis is over at DC now. Like, he's turned in his scripts from Marvel and he's over to DC, and his first published work is going to be part of an anthology-ish issue of Action Comics. So Superman, it's actually going to be a pretty incredible issue, Action Comics number 1000. They are the first comic book house that will be able to say they are on issue 1000. So this is gigantic. It's going to be a big action-packed extravaganza, according to DC. And the main feature is going to be written by a guy named Dan Jurgens, who's been writing since just before Rebirth happened. Who's been writing Action Comics, and then there's also going to be another minor story in there by Peter J. Tomasi and Patrick Gleason, who have been writing Superman since Rebirth as well. So super excited for that. Keep your eyes open. Issue number 1000 is going to be huge, and it's going to be a little expensive because that's kind of a thing. It's definitely going to be a collector's item for sure. But we're kicking over to the other side of things. We're talking Old Man Hawkeye. Apparently, issue number 1 is going to have a Venom tie-in. The Venom symbiote attaches to a clone of Multiple Man, who is not near the original version of Multiple Man, but has very interesting implications because Venom takes on the abilities of whoever it attaches to. And so if it has the ability to clone itself, that's a very dangerous thing for that crazy symbiote. Like, and then like, how are they're potentially going to spawn that into a bunch of different symbiotes because it's going to change the ability from Multiple Man differently. And so just really, really interesting implications. Great. I'm kind of excited, I'm not gonna lie. And I don't really read Spider-Man much, and I don't ever read Hawkeye, I'm not gonna lie. But Old Man Logan's a great story, so Old Man Hawkeye maybe not gonna be a great story because it's gonna be rehashing Old Man Logan, but we'll give it a shot, right? The writer for the story is going to be Ethan Sachs, or is Ethan Sachs, because it's on shelves now, so I haven't read it yet, but I'm going to. The artist is Mauro Cicchetto, and it is, like I said, out now, so go to your local comic book shop or Comixology.com, wherever you get your comics, and check that out. The next bit is still Marvel side, and we're talking Captain America. The current storyline, the current story arc, that's the word I was looking for, is called Out of Time, and it ends with issue number 700, which is a giant milestone for Marvel. They are not quite to the 1000 arena just yet, but 700 is a lot of damn books. It's going to be Future Captain. He finds himself out of time again. So just like when he was first thawed, when they first created him, after he got put on ice for a while. It kind of happens again, and he finds himself in even further in the future, and it looks like he becomes King Captain America. I don't know how that title works, but whatever. And the rest of it. There's going to be. So the writer is Mark Waid, and the artist for most of the book is Chris Samney, but there's going to be guest spots from the Hulk, guest spots from the Thing, and some Jack Kirby artwork, some original Jack Kirby artwork. So going to be very interesting to see how they work that in, because Jack Kirby does some great stuff, man, especially considering he's like the godfather of comics. So is this new artwork that just didn't get published before, or is this repurposed artwork from when he was alive and kicking? We'll find out when they print issue number 700 for Cat. But next is Conan. Conan, I gotta stop. I've been watching too much Conan O'Brien, I'm not gonna lie. But Conan the Barbarian, the Conan properties just signed a deal with Marvel that the Barbarian will be back in the pages of Marvel starting January of next year. So we're 1 year out, but never read Conan. I have seen a lot of the artwork. I'm a big fan, actually, of the Conan artwork, mostly because of the Frazetta artwork that was from back in the day, but still, even then, even the more contemporary stuff is aping that Frazetta stuff. So even knockoff Frazetta is still better than most comic book art, depending on your taste, I guess. But I'm a fan, so I can dig it. It's currently being published, I think, by IDW, but as of, again, January 2019, back at Marvel, so more widely published, more widely available. Next is Batman White Knight. Kicking back over to DC. Sean Murphy, the writer and artist for Batman White Knight, wants to do an R-rated version. He was talking about maybe doing it for the trade, so the collection, throwing in. So the quote was he wants to put the nudity and swears back in the book. So that's the quote. That's, I'm fairly certain, a direct quote. What does that mean? Like, he wrote, like, I can understand writing the script with foul language and stuff, and then you have to censor it because it's Batman, and that I totally get. But you drew naked, like, yeah, there's a sex scene in issue 3 where that's fairly graphic for a comic book, but still, like, there's no actual nudity, so it's, I don't know. But he apparently drew naked Harley and stuff, and it's such a weird thing to... Why would you draw it if you knew you couldn't put it in the book? It doesn't make sense to me. Maybe you guys have a better take on that. Let's talk about that in the comments. Issue number 5 will be hitting comic book shelves February 7th. Walk your happy butt right outside to your comic book store and pick that up, because that is a fantastic story that you must catch up on. And then our final bit for this week's Week in Nerdom is preview for next week's Star Wars. It's Star Wars issue number 42. The preview, they're fighting. I'm gonna read you the plot synopsis according to the official preview. It's really vague, so I'm not gonna spoil anything. The Leviathan is heading for the remains of Jeddah, prepared to pick the carcass of the once holy planet clean. But with Luke Skywalker torn between his allegiance to the rebellion and pursuing the path of a Jedi, who will lead the charge against the Empire. It's got Han on the cover. The preview pages feature Leia very heavily, so it's very likely Leia that's going to be leading the rebellion. And the Leviathan is a new ship, so that's pretty great. Super solid so far, this storyline. Definitely looking forward to another installment in it. But that finishes our comic book edition for this week. What did I miss? What should we talk about next week? Definitely let me know in the comments below. And if you want to continue this conversation, then you can jump over to the website, generallynerdy.net, where you can find all of the social media links, find other things that I've written about, and we can continue in more depth about this conversation if you don't want to do it here in the comments section. Or if you want to help this conversation continue, then jump over to Patreon, patreon.com/generallynerdy, where you can jump on for just $1 a month, and that dollar goes an incredible long way, so do not be shy or bashful, and that gets you early access to content. If you want to give me a couple more bucks, then I'll give you a couple more things, and that's how this relationship works. So definitely check out the Patreon. If you are new to the channel, click that subscribe button. If you like the video, click the like button. If you are running behind on your nerd news and you want to catch up, click or tap that icon right there next to my pretty little face to the left. You know, that one right there. Do it. But before you go, always remember that if it's generally nerdy, it's probably here.